Farm Bureau helps protect its members in more ways than you might think. They've always been the voice of agriculture in Arkansas, working on behalf of folks like me when nobody else would. And Farm Bureau stands for the values that Arkansas families care about. They've protected my right to farm and make a living, which helps everybody who likes food on the table. You know what they say, Arkansas counts on agriculture, and agriculture counts on Farm Bureau.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
And welcome back to Capitol View. I'm David Goins alongside Roby Brock. Joining us now for our political long table, State Representative James McLean from Batesville and Dr. Richard Abernathy, who's the Executive Director of the Arkansas Association of Educational Administrators, AAEA for short. We love our acronyms. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for asking.
All right, first question. Obviously, this teacher insurance crisis, this public school employee insurance crisis that has dominated the last week or so of legislative activity. We know that there are a lot of things being talked about behind closed doors and in public. What does a solution look like to you? What are we talking about is realistic to try to find these pots of money to make up this deficit? Representative?
I think it's a three-pronged approach. Of course, there's going to have to be some short-term money from the state in order to stabilize this pool. In addition to that, I think that we're going to have to look at different funding sources across the board, the Department of Education and other places. And then we have to look at modification of the plans. That we are working in that regard. A lot of discussion is going on right now as we speak. And I believe by the end of next week, we should have something, the framework of a solution in place that all of the educational stakeholders, legislators, educational professionals, teachers, public school employees can have input on, and hopefully there will be a consensus developed or developing that we can take to a special session and get this thing fixed.
Dr. Abernathy?
Well, I'm certainly encouraged by our good friend Representative McLean stating that, because it is at least a three-pronged approach. And it's going to take additional revenue, for one, but by the same token, we need to look at the plan and probably make some adjustments in the plan so it's sustainable, and we're not having this conversation every year or every other year. This has been an ongoing problem, and we can go back to 2008. The legislature had to deal with it then. They dealt with it again in 2012. We need to try to fix it if at all possible.
Yeah, I mean, the short-term fix is kind of a cash thing, and you can throw as much or as little money as you want at that. The long-term fix really kind of seems the crux of the negotiations maybe over the next week. From a superintendent standpoint, because I know they kind of fall under that AEA umbrella, what's kind of the rub right now for superintendents as far as maybe some of the ideas coming from Governor Beebe?
Well, and we've met with Governor Beebe, and of course he's a big supporter of public schools, and we're all kind of in crisis right now. But one of the things that he said, schools are going to have to come up with some money, and we agree with that. Schools are going to need to come up with some money to help support this. At the same time, the state is going to need to come up with some money. And go back to 2012, and the state was recommending $47 million to be placed into the plan by the legislature that was not funded. So it has been coming for a while, and but superintendents, we're willing to do our part and try to come up with a share of funds that we can.
In the short term, the state has money because there's a budget surplus right now. But where does the money come from the local school district level when you've got a couple of hundred different pies out there? People got to piecemeal this thing together to get to some conclusion. How does that happen?
Well, that is what we are studying with great haste right now, where we can find annual monies to keep this plan sustainable. That is a great question, and that's something that the governor has been grappling with, legislators have been grappling with, as well as educational professionals like Dr. Abernathy.
Does there become more state control over these local school budgets, at least from a line item perspective, for this one particular issue to shore this up?
That is possibly on the table, but events are very fluid right now, and the discussion is very fluid. But my perspective has been all along that everything needs to be discussed. Everything needs to be on the table. From that perspective, let's condense down what we agree on and come to a consensus, because as Dr. Abernathy mentioned, we are in a complete crisis mode with these skyrocketing rates, and it's not sustainable. When you have a benefit that is eating up so much take-home pay of our teachers, I feel like it will become an adequacy issue. And teachers, as I've said before, are where it begins in terms of providing adequate education for our students.
Okay, well, I would say teachers say they can't afford this level of premium increase. From your perspective, Representative, is there a level of increase for premiums that teachers are going to have to be able to handle?
I think that part of the equation is that there will be a premium increase, certainly not 50%. Certainly not to a degree that hinders people's ability to make a living in this profession. So to me, I think the primary goal, the immediate goal, is to halt these dramatic premium increases, and I'm quite sure we will find a way to do that.
Dr. Abernathy, for you, he mentioned, Representative McLean mentioned adequacy. That is a state level issue right there. Is there going to be some willingness from local school districts to give up some control of their budgets for a solution to this?
I'm not sure how much local control we have over the budgets, just to be real honest, because so much of it's tied up in salaries now. If you transport kids, I mean, that's a set amount. You know, when I was superintendent of schools, basically you had about 80% of your budget that was tied up. So you have 20% that you can, decide if you want maintenance facilities or other issues that you can deal with. So I don't know how much more the state wants to take control of the budgets, but I do think that there's some the room that if we can get some people in the room that really want to try to fix the problem, I think we can help resolve this problem.
All right. Dr. Richard Abernathy with the Arkansas Association of Educational Administrators, Representative James McLean, House Chairman of the Education Committee. You guys are going to have your hands full for the next couple of weeks. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
All right, we're going to be back to wrap things up right after this quick break. I'm Roby Brock alongside David Goins. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning on KARK.
One of the real advantages of electric cooperatives membership is having a voice in our state's energy future.
Not a week goes by without important energy issues making headlines. These are issues that need to be discussed. And you should know that as policies are being developed, the cooperatives are looking out for our members, advocating what's best for you.
We are your friends and neighbors.
We are your local electric company.
The electric cooperatives.
We are Arkansas.
And welcome into the Capitol View app extra on your Google, Android, or iPhone. We're rejoined by Richard Abernathy from the Arkansas Association of Educational Administrators. They really should lengthen that. They should get that a little bit longer.
I usually just say school administrators.
School administrators, yeah, that's good. And James McLean from Batesville, and of course Roby Brock. We were talking quite a bit about teacher insurance, obviously, with our panel here today. And I guess kind of the $1 million question. I mean, special session, no special session. I mean, do you think right now where we stand, it's going to happen?
Yes, absolutely. And I just believe that we are at such a critical mass point with this issue. Doing nothing from my point of view is just unacceptable.
Is there any chance the legislature is maybe not 100% positive on the exact long-term solution, but you tell Governor Beebe, we'll figure it out, let's do this, or do you feel like you've got to know all the way?
I think that we are going to have to present legislators with something that they're comfortable with, something that we can work on in a short amount of time. But this is an issue where we cannot just walk away. We cannot try to kick the can down the road, as it were. It needs to be addressed now. It is vitally important that our educational professionals have some clarity in terms of their health care benefit. And I just believe a special session needs to happen, and we need to get this taken care of, and the sooner the better.
Dr. Abernathy, I've talked to some folks before who understand where some of the problems come from. There were some catastrophic illnesses that extended this plan beyond its means. There's a lot of, I think, perception that the gold plans are driving up these exploding costs and causing this insurance plan to be out of balance. What are the driving factors, do you think, that have caused the financial upside down equation that we have?
Well, obviously financial support is one of those reasons. School districts not getting enough participants in those plans is a reason. We're about 65% statewide participation rate. In my understanding, you need to be at least 75% participation rate.
Will there be some interest in terms of a solution for trying to make mandatory that participation rate?
I think it's something that's on the table and it's going to have to be considered. You know, at some point you have to get your participation rate up. ACA and how that's going to influence all of this is another question that is unanswered, you know, at this point. You know, one of the things that we always we're talking about teacher health insurance, but it's much more than teacher health insurance.
Absolutely.
You know, it's cafeteria workers, bus drivers, food service, custodials, and they are really hurting. But my understanding that ACA, it will come into play on some of that. There may be some legislation, state legislation that needs to be changed in order to help that. But we have a lot of people right now who are really looking for the legislature to help them out.
But it seems to me that if ACA is part of the solution, that takes people out of the plan. So how does the plan not get to that 75% threshold if you've got people exiting the plan?
That is a whole other dimension to what is a very big problem. I'm not really prepared to enter in an ACA solution to this problem right now. I think that we need to look at what we can do as a state, what we can do as teachers, what we can do as administrators to try to solve this before we start going down the road to 2015, when the full weight of the Affordable Care Act will be felt. And once again, we get back to this three-pronged equation of the one-time money, modification of plans, and looking for annual monies to prop up the pool.
Makes sense. I mean, if I'm a taxpayer, there's going to be this one-time, at least one-time money to fix the short-term issue, the $58 million. Do you think $58 million actually goes to it, or it's some number smaller than that?
I think it will be between 50 and 58 million.
Okay.
That's my feeling as of now.
Because 58 would mean premiums don't go up, right?
Absolutely, but I believe that when we're looking at this in the context of everybody's going to have some skin in the game, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of rate increase. But once again, 50% is not tenable from my point of view.
Okay. Well, yeah, no question about that. Yeah, I mean, guys, appreciate y'all sticking around for the app extra here on Capitol View. Hope everyone enjoyed it there on your cell phone. And guys, gentlemen, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Of course, you can watch Capitol View every Sunday morning at 8:30 on Channel 4 and other good affiliates throughout the state of Arkansas. We will see you back here next week for another edition of Capitol View. See you guys.